Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home, text number 30 onwards. Patim prayantam subalasya putri pativrata chanu jagam sadvi himalayam nesta danda praharsham manasvinam ev satsampraharaha. The gentle and chaste Gandhari, who was the daughter of King Subal of Gandhar or Gandhar, followed her husband, seeing that he was going to the Himalaya mountains, which are the delight of those who have accepted the staff of the renounced order, like fighters who have accepted a good lashing from the enemy. Sobalini or Gandhari, daughter of King Subal and wife of King Dhritarashtra, was ideal as a wife devoted to her husband. The Vedic civilization specially prepares chaste and devoted wives, of whom Gandhari is one amongst many mentioned in history. Lakshmiji Sita Devi was also daughter of a great king, but she followed her husband, Lord Ramchandra, into the forest. Similarly, as a woman, Gandhari could have remained at home or at her father's house, but as a chaste and gentle lady, she followed her husband without consideration. Instructions for the renounced order of life were imparted to Dhritarashtra by Vidura, and Gandhari was by the side of her husband, but he did not ask her to follow him because he was at that time fully determined, like a great warrior who faces all kinds of dangers in the battlefield. He was no longer attracted to the so-called wife or relatives, and he decided to start alone. But as a chaste lady, Gandhari decided to follow her husband till the last moment. Maharaj Dhritarashtra accepted the order of Vanaprastha, and at this stage the wife is allowed to remain as a voluntary servitor. But in the sannyas stage, no wife can stay with her former husband. So it is said, Vanaprastha stage, wife can stay. So it is a choice for the ladies to go with the husband when he's going for Vanaprastha or to stay at home. But for sannyasi, after one prasa, if he takes sannyas, then the wife cannot stay with him. She has to come back home. But also in one place, either it is a joke or it is serious. I don't know. It is a wife says, "I'm going to come with you to make sure you really go for one prasa. You don't go and marry somebody else. So I'm going to come along with you." So that's a different story. But generally, in a serious case, she can go or she can remain. But in this case, Gandhari decided to go with Dhritarashtra. Maharaj Dhritarashtra did not deny his faithful wife, and she followed her husband at her own risk. Because sannyas life is very difficult and especially not recommended for the ladies. So, but Vanpras life is husband or wife and wife together. They go to different places of pilgrimage and try to devote their life. And the husband starts getting ready for the sannyas life. The sannyasis accept a rod as a sign of the renounced order of life. There are two types of sannyasis: those who follow the Mayavadi philosophy, headed by Sripad Shankaracharya, accept only one rod, ek danda. But those who follow the Vaishnavite philosophy accept three combined rods, three danda. So in followers, so they also accept this rod. Rod is considered as sannyas danda, or the sign of sannyas life. So in Vaishnav following, they have three danda. Three thin rods are combined together, attached together to make one rod. So why three and why one? The Mayavadi, or those who follow Shankaracharya, they accept one rod. So why one rod? Because their belief is we are one with God. I'm one with God. I'm same as God. So they carry one rod. Vaishnavas carry three rods tied together as one. Three rods means I am going to serve Krishna with my body, mind, and words. So we call it BMW. So this is the BMW of Vaishnava sannyasis. So body, mind, and words. Easy to remember. So this is what three rods represent. And above the three rods, where the three at the top of that danda, there's a like half X, or you can say like a small moon type of symbol on top that is tied together also. So that represents the soul. So not only by body, mind, words, I'm going to engage in service to you, Krishna, but my soul is also surrendered to you. Of course, in Vidur Samhita, it's a different thing. So Vidur Samhita says this is the three dandi means BMW, and above it is the X. So BMW X series is there, X5, X7 series. So that is a X on top of it. So the sannyasis also have a BMW. Everybody carries a BMW these days. The Vaishnavas, the Ekdandi sannyasis are mostly fond of the Himalayas, but the Vaishnava sannyasis are fond of Vrindavan and Puri. Vaishnava sannyasis are Narottams, whereas the Mayavadi sannyasis are Dhiras. Maharaj Dhritash was advised to follow the Dhiras because at that stage it was difficult for him to become a Narottam. So Narottam, as Prabhupada explained earlier, Dhira means one who has controlled his senses, controlled everything, controlled. He would not get distracted even in the face of big calamity. But Narottam is one who has engaged himself for everything that he has in the service of the Lord. Excuse me. So text 31. Ajat Shatru Krit Maitri Hutagnir Vipranatva Tilgo Bhumi Rukame Griham Brevishto Guru Vandanaya Nacha Pashyat Pitaro Sobalim Cha. Maharaj Yudhishthir, whose enemy was never born, performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering fire sacrifice to the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cows, land, and gold to the Brahmins. He then entered the palace to pay respects to the elderly. However, he could not find his uncles or aunt, the daughter of King Subal. So it is said Maharaj Yudhishthir was a Ajat Shatru, so whose enemy was never born. Means, so what we have seen in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Duryodhana and party, they were his enemies. But why it is said he was Ajat Shatru? Because he never considered anybody as his enemy. If Duryodhana has considered Yudhishthira Maharaj as his enemy, that was his outlook. But Maharaj Yudhishthira never considered Duryodhana as his enemy. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was a most pious king because he personally practiced daily the pious duties for the householders. The householders are required to rise early in the morning. They cannot sleep till 10 or 11 a.m. And after bathing, they should offer respects to the deities at home by prayers, by offering fuel in the sacrificial sacred fire, by giving the Brahmins in charity land, cows, grains, gold, etc. And at last offering to the elderly members due respects and obeisances. So if you cannot give land, cows, grains, gold, etc. to a Brahmin, well, I'm in fact a qualified Brahmin if you want to give, but at least at least one should serve the deities at home. That is the most important. But the charity has to be done. For a Grihastha, charity has to be done. Because charity purifies the income. Whatever charity we do, it purifies the income that we have. One who is not prepared to practice injunctions prescribed in the Shastras cannot be a good man simply by book knowledge. Modern householders are practiced to different modes of life, namely to rise late and then take bed tea without any sort of cleanliness and without any purificatory practices as mentioned above. Household children are taken to practice what the parents practice, and therefore the whole generation glides towards hell. Of course, this first canto of Bhagavatam Prabhupada translated and wrote his commentaries when he was living in India. So that was even before 1965. So that time TV wasn't introduced in India. So otherwise he would have definitely mentioned here, take bed tea, watch TV, and if he had written now, watch WhatsApp or Facebook before they even get out of the bed. He would have mentioned that for the householders. Nothing good can be expected from them unless they associate with sadhus. Like Dhritarashtra, the materialistic person may take lessons from a sadhu like Vidura and thus be cleansed of the effects of modern life. Maharaj Yudhishthira, however, could not find in the palace his two uncles, namely Dhritarashtra and Vidura, along with Gandhari, the daughter of King Subal. He was anxious to see them and therefore asked Sanjay, the private secretary of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra, along with Vidura and Gandhari, they had left the palace without telling anybody. So that was the right way of leaving. Because now they were completely detached. So just few instructions by Vidura, it could change their whole consciousness, whole outlook, whole everything, whole thought process. So this is how powerful Vidurji was. Text 32. Tatra Sanjayam Asinam Paprachod Vignamanasah Gaval Gane Kvarnastato Vriddho Hinascha Netrayaho. Maharaj Yudhishthira, full of anxiety, turned to Sanjay, who was sitting there, and said, "O Sanjay, where is our uncle who is old and blind? Amba chahat putrartha petravya kva gatah suhrit api maya krita pragye hatbandhu sabharyaya ashansmana shamalam gangayam dukito apatat." Where is my well-wisher Uncle Vidura and Mother Gandhari, who is very afflicted due to her son's demise? My uncle Dhritarashtra was also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he therefore take my offenses very seriously and, along with his wife, drown himself in the Ganges? So, this was the mentality of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He was thinking, it was because of my offenses my uncle and aunt have left me. The Pandavas, especially Maharaj Yudhishthira and Arjun, anticipated the after effects of the battle of Kurukshetra, and therefore Arjun declined to execute the fighting. The fight was executed by the will of the Lord. But the effects of family aggrievement, as they had thought of it before, had come to be true. Maharaj Yudhishthira was always conscious of the great plight of his uncle Dhritarashtra and Aunt Gandhari, and therefore he took all possible care of them in their old age and aggrieved conditions. When therefore he could not find his uncle and aunt in the palace, naturally his doubts arose, and he conjectured that they had gone down to the water of the Ganges. He thought himself ungrateful because when the Pandavas were fatherless, Maharaj Dhritarashtra had given them all royal facilities to live, and in return he had killed all Dhritarashtra's sons in the battle of Kurukshetra. So see, Maharaj Yudhishthira was thinking even up to that point. And he was not even noticing that Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, Dushasan, they all tried to kill Pandavas so many times, tried to insult them also. As a pious man, Maharaj Yudhishthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. Dhritarashtra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord. But Maharaj Yudhishthira was thinking only of his own unavoidable misdeeds. That is the nature of a good man and devotee of the Lord. A devotee never finds faults with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. So a devotee never finds faults with others, but tries to find his own. And many times it happens that others also help the devotee find his own faults because they're always trying to point out faults in the devotee. And devotees say, yes, it was my fault. And thus rectify them as far as possible. So that is a sign of person in the mode of goodness. Pitaryu parate pando sarvanna suhrida shishun arakshatam vyasanata arakshatam vyasanataha pitravyo kvagatavitaha. When my father Pandu fell down and we were all small children, these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. They were always our good well-wishers, and alas, where have they gone from here? Text 35. Sutuvacha kripya sneh vaikalvalya vyat suto virah karshitaha atmeshwaram chakshano na pratya hati piditaha. Sud Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjay, not having seen his own master, Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So Sanjay was there also at that time, and Dhritarashtra didn't even tell him where he was going. So that is a sign of real detachment and real determination that I'm gonna go for tapasya, austerities. Sanjay was a personal assistant of Maharaj Dhritarashtra for a very long time, and thus he had the opportunity to study the life of Dhritarashtra. And when he saw at last that Dhritarashtra had left home without his knowledge, his sorrows had no bound. He was fully compassionate toward Dhritarashtra because in the game of the battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra had lost everything, men and money. And at last, the king and the queen had to leave home in utter frustration. He studied the situation in his own way because he did not know that the inner vision of Dhritarashtra had been awakened by Vidura, and that therefore he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness for a better life after departure from the dark well of home. So, unless one is convinced of a better life after renunciation of the present life, one cannot stick to the renounced order of life simply by artificial dress or staying out of home. So that conviction has to be there that one will achieve a better life after renunciation of the present life. Then one can remain steadfast in that life, in that renounced order of life. Because the Grihastha life, the life at home, is very comfortable, very convenient, and very secure, safe. To go out in the society, to be all alone, to be completely surrendered, and to be have taken complete shelter of the Lord, is not at all easy. Of course, living at home is not easy, but living as a mendicant, as a beggar, as a sannyasi, it's very, very difficult. But every person who's a grihastha, who enters a grihastha ashram, um, he should try to go for this renounced life. Or even living at home, as Prabhupada had mentioned earlier, even living at home, one can be a sannyasi, grihastha sannyasi, if he is completely dedicated in his life in the service of the Lord. That complete dedication is required. And that's what Prabhupada is saying now. One cannot stick to the renounced life simply by artificial dress or staying out of the home. So even while staying inside the home, one can become sannyasi if he is completely convinced that if I keep on doing this kind of service, my future life, either future in this life or the next life, will be much better. And according to all the scriptures, it will be. One just have to be convinced properly. Text 36. Vimirijya shruni pranibhyam vishtabhyatma manamatmana ajashatram pratyuche prabhupada. First, he slowly pacified his mind by intelligence, and wiping away his tears and thinking of the feet of his master, Dhritarashtra, he began to reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So, Sanjay is going to reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Sanjay Vacha, Naham Ved Vyavasitam Pitrorva Kulanandana Gandhareva Mahabaho Mushito Asmi Mahatmabhi. Sanjay said, my dear descendant of the Kuru dynasty, I have no information of the determination of your two uncles in Gandhari. O king, I have been cheated by those great souls. The great souls cheat others may be astonishing to know, but it's a fact that great souls cheat others for a great cause. So great souls can also cheat others, but for a great cause. Just like Prabhupada once asked his disciples that he told his disciples, I came to cheat you all. The disciples were kind of surprised. What did you cheat us with? Prabhupada said, I did cheat you. I just cheated you to become great devotees of Krishna. Cheated in the sense, of course, Prabhupada didn't lie to them that this is what is going to happen, but um, but by following Prabhupada, they ended up giving up everything: their life, American life, there's so much of opulence they had, youth they had, and then they lived like beggars even in America. It was the mood at that time was so that brahmacharis they would all live together. There were hardly any facilities, so they would pretty much sleep in the temple room, and whoever was in charge of washing the clothes, so he would wash the clothes, or every day everybody would take turn to wash the clothes in the washing machine. He would wash the clothes and put them all in a stack. There was no like, this is my dhoti and this is my kurta. And the devotees would get up in the morning, take shower, and just grab whatever dhoti, whatever kurta they get, they wear it, and they would do their services. They were so renounced. In fact, I met one Mataji Prabhupada disciple, and she's leading like a Grihastha Vision team of ISKCON right now. So Mataji, she was a African American lady. So she had joined the New York temple, and the enthusiasm was great at that. There was not only a brahmachari ashram, there were brahmacharini ashram also. So ladies could also live in an ashram. So Mataji was telling that she joined New York temple. In New York, if you all know, it gets really cold. And she said there was no heater in the temple. We didn't have money to afford a heater. Even the water heater wasn't there. And there would be a commander at the bathroom door to make sure everybody takes shower and get out fast, because everything was in short supply. So Mataji used to tell that they had made a little poem when they used to go to take shower, and shower was cold, really cold, icy cold bucket of water. And the poem that they would sing was, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. I don't get old and I don't get cold. And just with that words, they would pick up the whole bucket of water and just throw it on themselves and just get out. That's it. That was the shower. We can't even imagine that life. Even in Delhi, we cannot take cold showers. Just imagine in New York, icy cold. But they did it. They did so many of austerities. And that's why they made so much of progress. Okay, so it said that Lord Krishna also advised Yudhishthira to tell a lie before Dronacharya, and it was also for a great cause. The Lord wanted it, and therefore it was a great cause. Satisfaction of the Lord is a criterion of one who is bona fide, and the highest perfection of life is to satisfy the Lord by one's occupational duty. That is the verdict of Gita and Bhagavatam. Dhritarashtra and Vidura, followed by Gandhari, did not disclose their determination to Sanjay, although he was constantly with Dhritarashtra as his personal assistant. Sanjay never thought that Dhritarashtra could perform any act without consulting him. But Dhritarashtra going away from home was so confidential that it could not be even disclosed to Sanjay. Sanatan Goswami also cheated the keeper of the prison house while going away to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami also cheated his priest and left home for good to satisfy the Lord. So these two stories, maybe some other time I'll tell you. So Prabhupada says, such cheating was necessary for a great cause, and there is no loss for any party in such transcendental fraud. Because the aim is to satisfy, aim is to serve the Supreme Lord. So the aim is okay, then the means are okay in this case. But other cheatings are not really condoned, not really supported. Just like devotees sometimes in the beginning days, they would when they were distributing books, sometimes they would cheat public, and Prabhupada didn't like that idea. And some devotees, because in America when they joined, they were hippies mostly when they joined earlier days, and hippies means they used to do drugs also. So devotees sometimes had idea that we can sell the drugs and make money for Krishna's service, and Prabhupada stopped that. He said, no, we don't do these kind of activities. So that kind of cheating or fraud is not at all recommended. So that's why we need a guru who can guide us properly on the path of bhakti. How much cheating is allowed. A little bit cheating is okay, but not going out of hand. So anyway, so that's why we need a guru who can guide us properly. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Prabhuji, one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, renunciation means to leave the home, or one can stay at home and he can give his possessions and property to his children and dedicate his life in service. I mean,
it's not that if he gives his property to children, he gets detached. The real renunciation is getting so much attached to Krishna that he gets detached from the material things. So that feeling, that inner feeling has to be there. Whether it comes by giving the property away or not giving the property away, or getting to attach to service of Krishna, that one has to see. So for a grasta who wants to stay at home, that's also allowed. What one has to dedicate his life in the service of Krishna. That is more important. Is it okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes,
Prabhuji, you were saying that if we give a part of our income to the service of Krishna, then our income gets purified. How is it so, Prabhuji? If you can explain, Prabhuji.
See, every time we make some income, we make money, there is some karma attached to it. Even if we are making money by pure means, no illegal means, but still there is karma attached. Means, suppose to give you an example, like software company, one is working for software company, IT industry, not doing anything wrong, not doing anything immoral, illegal, or breaking the principles. But if we are making software and some other person utilizes it for some other wrong means, then we will also get some karma out of it. Um, so to purify us of that karma, one has to learn to give charity. And also by giving charity, our heart opens up. I mean, from another aspect, if you want to look at. So giving charity means our heart has to open up, means some compassion has to be there. So then the flow of energy, flow of mercy, it becomes proper. It's not like we keep on taking the mercy and not give it out. So our heart has to open up to get the flow of mercy proper. So giving charity in terms of money, giving classes, giving uh, away food, helping others, these are very good means of getting the proper mercy flow inside us. So both ways it's good. Is it okay?
Beautiful answer, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, one which is like, thank you so much. One more question, just a little confused I am. Like Vidurji, he had left home much before this war of Kurukshetra had started.
Yes.
Okay.
He left home after Krishna had come as a peace messenger, and Duryodhan tried to capture Krishna. And then Vidurji spoke up that Dhritarashtra, what are you doing? This is all nonsense. So then Duryodhan said, keep this Dasiputra, get this Dasiputra out of here. And then Vidurji left. He knew now war is imminent, so there is no way we can avoid the war. He left. And he came back after many, many years.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you have mentioned about Vanaprastha ashram.
Uh-huh.
So in this modern age, like how one should adopt this Vanaprastha ashram, like after what age and what should be their like work role after Grihastha ashram? And also like how can we correlate this Char Purusharth, Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha? So can we relate it with all the 4 ashramas?
Well, once we come to, I think Narad Muni talks about in detail about all the 4 ashrams. Later on, I think in 7th canto. But Vanaprastha ashram, like Prabhupada gave a simple rule that if somebody lives for 100 years, then 1/4, 25 years Brahmachari ashram, next 25 grihas, then next 25 Vanaprastha, and last 25 sannyas. So one can divide it up like that. So, but these days, real life of a grihastha starts at 50, because by 50 the kids are settled and they have enough money, so they say now it's time for us to enjoy. Why give it all up? Go away. So it's all messed up right now. Whether a Vanaprastha should start at some time, at least, if not at 50, at some point, they should try to prepare themselves for next life, and that is Vanaprastha. And one way is going to all the places of pilgrimage and associating with sadhus, listening to them, trying to modify, trying to rectify their life, which was eat, drink, and be merry life so far. Prepare for some austerities. Of course, that one can do while living at home also, because in India there's so many possibilities. One can occasionally go to like Vrindavan or Dwarka or Jagannath Puri, Mayapur. So many tirthasthans are there. One can go, one can listen to sadhus there, and in fact, ISKCON has provided so many temples, so many associations. So one can take the association and mold their life in such a way that they have dedicated their life in the service of Krishna.
Okay.
So that is real vanprastha, and that is real sannyas also. Sannyas means not just giving up everything or wearing saffron. Sannyas means inside, internally, what we have done to detach ourselves. And real sannyas also means to, like in 12th canto, we read a story of Avanti Brahman, and he said, for him, sannyas means to preach the message of Krishna. So that is the real duty of a sannyasi, to preach. Go keep
So
on
for
preaching.
Vanaprastha, we really do not have to abandon our kids and all if in case we are in Grihasthashram. And still we can like maintain that listening from sadhus, visiting temples. We can
Yeah,
maintain.
because the other vanprastha is not practical for majority of population.
Okay.
See, it is Kali Yuga, so even if we give up everything, try to go live in a dham, there's so many cheaters also in the dham. Then
Mhm.
what to do?
True.
So practically, it's not possible these days. But as far as possible, one should try to do.
Okay, and how does like for char purushartha comes like dharma, artha, kama, moksha? This is like how can we correlate?
See, as grihasthas, we get into dharma, follow some religious principles, get some money, artha, and then engage in sense gratification, kama. But ultimate is moksha. So for that, we have to start worrying about when we are in Vanprastha ashram.
Okay.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Pancham Purushartha, which is prema, Krishna prema. So that changed the whole equation. So that we can start from very beginning. While when somebody is brahmachari or grihastha, he can start from that prem purusha, pancham purushartha. So that takes care of everything else. The rest of the 4 purushartha, it takes care of.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, Shashwati
Hare
Mata.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Today is the birthday of Anima Mata. Prabhuji, I forgot to drop in a message. Today is the birthday of Anima Mataji. She is there in the class. So wishing her a happy Krishna conscious
Hare
birthday.
Krishna Mata. Happy birthday.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Hare Krishna Mata, happy birthday.